This will just be a quick video on how I neaten up some of the more damaged pallet palings. In most applications, these palings would be fine to use as is. This is just an extra step if you want the project to look a bit neater. For this, I use a combination of an 80 grit flap disc on the angle grinder and a rotary tool with varying die grinder bits. I got myself a new set for about $20 on Amazon.
Now, remember, the board's already inside there, see, somewhere. And what you're doing is you're trying to find it.
This step comes after the rip cuts and the planing and all the stuff I have covered in the pallet processing series thus far. The most common damage I find is chipped out knots. Ideally, you really don't want to be planing knotted timber, but as you know, pallet wood is full of them. In this stack of 500, you'd be hard pressed to find a single board that doesn't have a knot in it. So the chipping is inevitable. When I come across a chip, I just smooth over the harsh edges. Sometimes you'll find a knot that is shattered around the edges, but is still held securely within the wood. For these, I take a rounded bit and clean up around the knot. Occasionally, I'll find some old flaking rotted sections that I grind right back to the solid wood. The old nails will more often than not have a tear out when you're hitting out the nail from the backside. This is because the timber has swollen around the nail head. Again, I just smooth these over with the rotary tool. For large splits, I glue and clamp them shut, but I usually do this in the earlier stages of the process. If the split isn't a structural issue, I will often carve out the cracks to make them look cleaner and more intentional.
Long strokes. Loads of finesse. Find the board.
For this stack, it took me 13 hours to neaten up the rougher areas. There are two reasons why I go to the extra effort. Number one, it looks better, and number two, it is so much easier to keep clean and dust free. If you've ever had a rough sawn piece of furniture in the house, then you know how much dust likes to gravitate towards it. These palings are for a large feature wall, and I want it to be extremely low maintenance. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Every carve counts.